I'm one of those people that I need stability, and I like to kind of tread lightly, but still push myself. So yeah, it's a lot. I'm so sorry. You're gonna have
Oh
to
no,
start
no,
like,
listen. You're saying some I'm over here just taking mental notes. Like you said some very key things. I have to agree with you on my side, which I'll explain in a moment. What's going on, everybody? My name is Abby, and welcome to another episode of Modern Day Unicorns. Today, I have a special guest that I'm gonna allow to introduce herself because this is the first time that we are speaking. So I wanna welcome you. Please tell us your name and about yourself.
thank you so much. I want to start by just saying thank you for considering me to be on your amazing show. My name is Camille McPherson. I am a lot of things. They call me like the Jade of all trades. I'm sure we'll dive more into that throughout this call. But I'm originally from Toronto, Canada. I've been abroad for the past 11 years. I currently reside in Dubai. I love it here. This is home to me. I am a program manager, and I also do a lot of other things like coaching. I have a t-shirt website. I do events. So I call myself a serial entrepreneur. I like to do a lot of different things, and I don't think that I have to choose just one. So I do a lot. I do a lot.
That's amazing. So for those of you who may not have caught on by now, we've already kind of discussed it, still don't know the details, but we actually share the same last name. So in a mutual group, and I saw a post that you put up, and you was like, hey, we got the same last name. So we've done surface level digging. All in all, we all related somewhere.
I believe it.
So Camille, you said you're in Dubai, which I'm in Abu Dhabi. How long have you been maybe abroad or in this country?
I'm aging myself here. I have been in Dubai for 10 years. Well, feeling for 10 years, since 2013. So long time. But I've been abroad since 2012. So I was in South Korea for a year, 2012. And then I moved here in 2013, and I've been here ever since.
Well, there we go. So I believe what sparked my interest in even speaking with you is the post that you did make in the group. And you were, in a sense, asking if anybody needed help, I guess, transitioning. So my assumption is that you came over here as an educator.
I did. Absolutely. Your assumption is correct. My journey is all over the place. I feel like whenever I'm telling about my journey, you've got to have a map because it's all over the place. So as I mentioned, I'm, originally from Toronto, Canada. I got a BA in health and society. Didn't really know where I was going to, go with that. Then I went and did my master's in education. And at the time, it was really difficult. The Canadian structure for education is very different. It's really hard to get into teachers' college in Canada, which I believe in the States it's not so hard. But in Canada, it's very difficult. So I ended up applying to a college in Buffalo, which was about 2 hours from my home. But what it allowed me to do was have a teaching certification in both New York State and in Ontario. So I was like, okay, great. Expensive, yes. But it was, going to make me a little bit more versatile where, when I finished, I was like, okay, I can try to get a job in either or place. Now, backfired completely. Because when I finished, teachers in Canada are actually treated pretty well and they don't retire as early. And so there were no jobs in Canada when I finished. And in the States, there happened to be a hiring freeze on international teachers, which I was assumed to be. So I had spent all this money on a master's in education and had no job. And so the one of my professors was like, why don't you consider teaching abroad? And so me being me, jumped on the computer, did my research, and I was like, the UAE, that's for me. Like it's just giving me all the good vibes. So of course I reached out to a recruiter, and they were like, you need some experience, sis. Like you can't just come over here with no experience. And I was like, well, how do I do it? I can't get a job in Canada. I can't get a job in the States. So I went to Korea, and I loved my experience in Korea. Although I spent only a year, I made friends that are still my friends today. I met my husband there, which is like huge. Tomorrow is our 10-year wedding anniversary, which is wild. I wouldn't change my Korean experience at all. I love that country. I have not been back since, but I do plan to visit. So yeah, I went to Korea, did my year, got my, experience that I needed. And then my husband and I got married, and, we've been here ever since. So that's the journey to the UAE. I know that was a lot, but yeah.
No, that's great because I mean it's awesome to always hear somebody else's journey and how they got here. I'll give you mine briefly, but
Yes.
I didn't want to be a teacher at all. My undergrad is sports, entertainment, and event management. Then, in order for me not to pay student loans back, what did I do? I went back to school and took out more loans to get a master's of business administration. Had no idea what I was doing with my life at that particular time. And so I went into an AmeriCorps program, happenstance. I happened to meet somebody I went to church with that allowed me to have knowledge of this program. So I went and did an AmeriCorps program, which is like the Peace Corps stateside. I did that for 2 years. And then it was an organization called Playworks, which helps teach children how to play at recess instead of essentially fighting. So we're giving them, group management strategies and allowing them to have a good time on break instead of trying to pull each other's hair out. Anyway, I fell in love with the idea of helping children, be better individuals with play. Then I went back to school, not traditional school, to get my teaching certification to become a physical education teacher. Taught in Washington, D.C. for 2.5 years. And then I actually visited Dubai. And my Spanish teacher from high school lived over here, who opened my eyes up to the opportunity to teach abroad, which I was like, I thought they only taught English. I don't want to teach English. And she was like, I teach Spanish over here. So I was like, I could teach PE. Looked into it, went to a job fair, got a job in Dubai teaching physical education. And so as I've given you that insight, we're now going to kind of segue into the fact that you were a teacher here and talk a little bit more about that particular transition and like why.
Right. So I love teaching. I think, it's something that will always stick with me, whether I'm teaching kids or helping my friends learn a new task. I think, teaching has always been with me. But as I'm sure, many people that you've encountered as educators, they get burnt out and it's tough. It can be really tough. So when I first got here, I loved it. I taught for 6 years in a suburb of the UAE called Al Ain, a little bit more remote. I learned some Arabic, so my Arabic skills are pretty decent. And then I think that was my first kind of, segue into one of my passions, which is art. And that came from teaching kids that had never seen maybe someone that looked like me, dressed like me, but also on the reverse, I was given all of these books and resources to teach them with kids that didn't look like them, which was really frustrating. And so I started creating clip art for teachers here of kids in kandoras and in abayas. So I started a Teachers Pay Teachers site, and I put up, some of my resources, some of my clip art. And so I kind of did that throughout, the first couple of years, and I still actually maintain that. I'm actually in the middle of revamping it. It's called Teaching from Square One, and that's kind of still how I stay connected to education in, the way that is most comfortable for me. And then I moved into Dubai in 2019, and that's when the pandemic hit and teaching became extremely exhausting. But I was one of those ones that grasped onto distance learning very well, using technology. I'm very comfortable with technology. I learned quite quickly, I would say. And so then I started creating a lot of digital activities, which is primarily, the focus now in my Teachers Pay Teachers store. But then I was just burnt out. I was tired. I wanted to try something new. I'm always wanting to learn new things. And my community here that I've built, I'm really grateful for them. They always are pouring into me and saying, you're so good at this. Why don't you try this? Why don't you do this? And so I decided I was going to leave teaching and maybe try something else. And I went in as a program manager to help a oil and gas company come up with like new cultural values, which was really cool. It was a a interesting role in the sense that, of course, like it was a great way to segue into corporate. And I was able to use a lot of the transferable skills that teachers have. I think teachers are the most, skilled people for sure. So many talents. And then that was a short contract. So it kind of gave me a taste of like freelancing, like, bringing certain skills to the table that, corporate companies find valuable. And then I was presented with a role at, I don't even know what they call them, Fang Company or the Mama Company, one of those top companies, as a program manager. So for me, it was a great transition because I was still able to stay in a learning and development space, but I wanted to learn and develop in certain ways. And the company that I'm currently working for, really thrives on learning and continuing to develop yourself. And I think for me, I need that. I think in education, I wasn't given that space to grow anymore and develop myself. And so for me, this has been a really great transition in that I still can pursue my own passions, but I've got that flexibility and I'm still developing myself in other ways. And so right now, I'm in a space where I am pushing myself to, develop my areas of, entrepreneurship, but I still have that stability that I think some people still thrive on. It's really hard to, take the risk and just dive right into, anything that you want to be full-time. But I'm one of those people that I need stability and I like to kind of tread lightly, but still push myself. So yeah, it's a lot. I'm so sorry. You're gonna have to start
listen, you're saying some, I'm over here just taking mental notes. Like you said some very key things. I have to agree with you on my side, which I'll explain in a moment, but I feel like teachers are the best content creators on the planet and severely undervalued for the ability that we have to take pretty much nothing and turn it into some things, right? And so my transition outside of traditional education, which I'll tell people, especially like when I introduce myself, I'm like, I am a former traditional educator. I'm still educating. I'm always going to be an educator. I just don't want to be in the confines of a building all the time. I still substitute from time to time. But my transition happened when I was able to come over here and get my rent paid for and make some decent tax-free money and things of that nature. So I was able to, buy some camera equipment, invest in some courses. And so my interest peaked when it came to content creation. So I started, as a PE teacher, recording highlights for the sports days or whatever was going on in school. And I, began to really enjoy it. Even got to the point where I was getting a stipend for producing some things for the schools. And then, I submitted a proposal for me to either get my class load reduced or for them to transition me full time to be able to, create media. And it was declined. And so I said, cool, if I can't do it, I don't want to just sit here and do what is good for you. I need another challenge. So I can relate 100% when it's just like, when teachers get bored, it's dangerous for us. If we can't learn and explore and experiment and succeed and fail, we're just an empty canvas. Like we're just there. And it began to get too routine for me. So I needed a challenge. So I decided not to re-sign my contract. Almost been 2 years now, two full school years now. And got my freelance license in Abu Dhabi and have been on my creative journey ever since. Finally in a position to where things are a little bit more stable, but still, working it out. So I commend you, of course, for, using the corporate side to be able to do that. And I think, another reason why I wanted to have this conversation with you is I have a lot, in my opinion, a lot of friends who are just like, we're educators or young educators. And, COVID did a number on us. COVID, that 1 or 2 years, if you were still teaching during COVID, that was like 15 years. COVID did a number on us. I think if it weren't for COVID, I'd probably still be teaching, but we were hybrid, or whatever. So literally I'm a DJ, like I'm having kids on Zoom right now. And I got kids in front of me. So I'm just like, stop, get off your bunk bed, get up, stop. So that it was low key traumatic. So education for a lot of, and so I feel for my friends who are still in the classroom who have the desire to try something different, but we need money. So when your post popped up and I'm like, hey, I'm giving information on how to transition or what you can do, it piqued my interest as well because I'm technically out, right? And I feel like the stuff that I'm getting into, I want my other friends to be free too. Like, I feel sorry for education, but it's just like it's getting unhealthy.
Yeah.
At this point in time. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think, when I made that transition, a lot of, people stepped up and say like, hey, like, how did you do it? And, it's not easy and there are steps that we can take, but at the same time, I feel like as educators, we're meant to feel like, your skill set is only, beneficial in one area. And that's not the case, at all. There are so many careers and paths that educators can take outside of the classroom using skills that they've, developed over the years and just be literally top tier candidate material. You just have to know how to present yourself, and finesse some of the things that you have done over the years into corporate language on your CV. And that's what I feel like I can help with because I had to go through it and learn the hard way. But I've come out feeling very, very positive about my skill set now, and what I can bring to the table and what other educators that, like, for example, Nearpod, that was something that, or Seesaw that we used, in distance education. I brought it into a corporate setting and they're like, wow, this is amazing. Like stuff that you wouldn't even think. So yeah, I think it's really just changing your mindset and shifting your mindset, and just believing that you can do more. And if you want more, grow for more, for sure.
So I know that this is going to be, we'll have another conversation for the sake of this particular episode, because I'm super intrigued, but I don't want to be on here for 3 hours with you. So here's what I'll say, or here's the question that I have at the moment is, so we're abroad. We have friends that are educators who live here. UAE is a second home. I love it. It's my third home because I'm British as well. But so we think that it is the school that is the guarantee that we can remain in the country. Can you speak on your transition from leaving your school, who was your sponsor, to now transitioning job? Because I think that's the major things. Like, if I don't re-sign my contract, I have 30 days to figure something out before I have to leave or try to do a visa run or whatnot. But I think that is one of the main hooks between educators who want to transition that don't leave, because they're like, I might still want to be here. I don't want to go home. I still want to be here, but they're the ones that allow me to be here. So how do you speak to that particular transition in terms of, the legalities of being able to remain in the country?
Right. I understand that mindset because I understand my blessing on the other side that I am married. I had a partner at the time that could sponsor me, which made things a million times easier. So I get that. But the UAE has continued to grow and allow people to stay longer and to invest in themselves as a freelance or a business owner. So I would say that the first thing to do is, of course, you want to make sure that you're in a position to do, to transition. And that means you might need to have some savings in an emergency fund. You might need to do some research on, how you can stay in the country, what, permits might be available, what licenses might be available to you in that time period. You might have to do some border runs in the meantime. For me, again, I tend to take more of a safe route at times, but I would, take the steps, which is part of the service that I provide and Grow for More, in stepping up, fixing up your CV, reaching out to people, and networking. I network everywhere I go. I love talking and meeting, people. So making sure that you kind of, put yourself in circles where, if you want to transition, you can reach out to that network and, see what's out there for you. But yeah, I think, that is a realistic fear, leaving something that gives you stability. I totally understand that. I didn't have that weight on my shoulders, and I understand that is a blessing, but there are opportunities for you to find stability in other ways, whether that be, again, through freelance license or doing border runs, and then, of course, reaching out and utilizing the network that's available here.
So you gave your tips already, which I'm grateful for. So what I would like, as we kind of land this particular plane right here, is I'd love for you to share some information about the services that you do offer for other people. And then I'll have you a little bit later just share specific details as to how they can reach out to you. But walk us through, if you were to get a new client, what type of services you'd be able to help them with.
Right. So I think it's important to also acknowledge that there are some teachers that still love education and don't want to leave, but they want to make more money. And I get that. That was me. So, there are some teachers that really don't know how to start a Teachers Pay Teachers or start a blog or start selling some of their resources. A lot of teachers are creating stuff daily and then just using them for that day and putting it aside. People will buy these things. So I can teach you how to bring your ideas to life, because there are some people that maybe aren't tech savvy and don't really know, the ins and outs of PowerPoint or Canva. So if you're looking to create something that you really just don't know how to get it, bring it to light, I can help with that. I'm pretty skilled with PowerPoint and Canva and, all of the other platforms in between. So if you're looking to just, develop some sort of passive income through, using resources, I'm happy to help with that. I'm also providing services on transitioning out into whatever that passion may be. Over the 10 years that I've been here, I have built a network of a great community, and I've just learned a lot. So, if there's something that you would like to start, I can usually point you in the right direction. If you want to get some help with your CV, I can do that as well. Just kind of all things. I want people to live the life that they want to live and be happy. I think that life is too short to be doing something that you don't like. And I think that changing your mindset is really, really important. And so, if you're just looking for someone to coach, someone to vent and, again, hold your hand and like, let's do this together. Let's get you on the right path. I'm that person.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Listen, folks, if you haven't been paying attention and other educators, because I'm assuming that you're not necessarily just close to people who are in the UAE, but if you know educators who are looking to build that passive income or looking to kind of figure out what else can I do, this would be a great individual to reach out to because the need is great. And I'm very hopeful for education in the future. We just might need a little, some gap years before we can come back, because like I said, my heart is always with education. I substitute and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. I just subbed for 3 days and I'm just like, I'm tired.
Yeah. I get it. I get that.
Listen, so can you please share all the places and spaces that people can contact you to get to know more about you and the things that you offer?
Yes. So I have an Instagram page, just my personal Instagram page, to be fair. It is lady_cam. I pretty much have everything linked in my bio there, but happy for anyone to reach out directly through DM. growformore.club is the website that you can find out, services specific to transitioning out of teaching, or if you want to teach abroad, or if you want to learn how to, get some passive income going.
Was the ending of that? Was that LUB or?
.club, yes. And then
Club.
Gotcha. Club, yeah. I've also got a t-shirt website. We didn't get to talk about all of that. I will, that's also linked in my bio. It's called Dope Tees for Me, double E on the me. I have a picnic event website here and Instagram page. It's called picnic.dxb.events. So any small events or big events, really, actually, I've started to do a lot more big events as well. If you're looking to have, some sort of private event, or you want to bring an event to life, I'm your girl. So lots of different handles, but happy for everyone to just reach out to me on lady_cam, and then I can, again, direct you to whatever channel is best and we can keep the conversation going.
Excellent. Well, listen, you heard it here, folks. We have wonderful resources out there to get things done and completed. So If you are a modern day unicorn or you know anybody that is, please feel free to reach out to me. I love to continue to have these conversations. So until next time, we will see you.